OpenAI just admitted the real agent safety problem starts after a single prompt. If a model can work across long sessions, the dangerous pattern may only show up across many turns. But the customers with the most sensitive data do not want OpenAI keeping those turns. That is the fight this launch is actually about. Here is what actually changed. OpenAI says eligible API customers can keep zero data retention, meaning prompts and responses are not retained after the request is processed and are not available to OpenAI personnel for review. Now it is previewing private safety processing, which is meant to detect risky patterns across related interactions without giving staff access to the underlying content. That turns privacy itself into the product story, not just the model. OpenAI's mechanism has three practical parts. Customer content stays on customer-controlled infrastructure for zero data retention deployments, or sits on OpenAI storage encrypted with keys the customer controls. Automated systems look for abuse patterns across related interactions and only return narrow safety signals like category and severity, instead of exposing prompts and responses to staff. Customers are then supposed to investigate alerts from their own systems and only share content if they choose to appeal or support an investigation. This matters because long-running agents make single-turn safety checks less honest. OpenAI explicitly names risks that only show up across sessions: repeated safeguard probing, coordination across accounts, and agents that keep acting after they were told to stop. For security and compliance teams, the useful test is whether you can keep strict data handling promises without going blind to abuse patterns. That is a much stronger operator question than whether the benchmark score went up again. Now the skepticism beat. This is still OpenAI describing a privacy-preserving monitoring design, not publishing proof that the system catches the right abuse patterns with low false positives. The white paper is not out yet. The rollout is still a preview with early customers, and the hardest detail is exactly what those narrow safety signals can see without becoming a backdoor to more retention. So the launch proves the direction of travel, not that the trade-off is solved. This is an intentional shorter cut, not a flagship 4 to 6 minute build, because the story is one precise enterprise control question rather than a broad platform reset. If you run sensitive agents, ask three things. Can the provider detect multi-turn abuse patterns without retaining raw content? Can your team investigate alerts from your own systems? And can you explain the privacy boundary to legal without hand-waving? If the answer is yes, this launch matters. If the answer is not yet, it is still a promising privacy pitch waiting on proof.